So we just got through another big batch of Akuma games, this time specifically focusing on the Capcom versus SNK legacy that the character has. And we've investigated this quite a bit, like our exhaustive hunt to make the Akuma boss fights as difficult as possible go all the way back to like 10 plus years on the channel. So like CVS2 boss rage is great for this. SVC boss rage was born from us doing the previous Akuma legacy. This time I really wanted to investigate each version of the character and see what they can kind of do and how nuts they are, instead of just using the knowledge that I know about the games and how to just go about it and fight the AI. And CVS1 was the first game, and Akuma's pretty dry in this one. So CVS1's an interesting title for me personally. I wasn't super attached to this game in general, just because of the 4-button layout. I feel like a lot of Capcom heads, right? This was like the game to show Capcom heads, hey, look at all these cool SNK characters if you're not paying attention. But this game failed to grasp its audience because of a weird controller layout that I feel like myself and a lot of others just didn't accept. Akuma's the same way in this, where he's missing his medium attacks for the most part. The only way to get them is to do like a down back heavy kick, and then you can get his low forward. And I think he's just missing his friggin' crouching strong altogether and his standing strong. They're just like gone. So you got to get used to that. You have to like acclimate yourself. The nice part about Capcom versus SNK 1 is that the game is just drop dead gorgeous. By many accounts, the art style and presentation of CVS1 eclipses that of even Capcom versus SNK 2, but it's clear that the gameplay is much more refined and way more enjoyable. There is a caveat and sort of a catch that if you want to play as Akuma in this game, until later versions of CVS1 would get adjusted for this, characters are bound to a ratio system on the character select screen, which is why they call, you know, in the intro of CVS2, they call it the free ratio system. It's called that because there was a limited ratio system in CVS1, meaning that certain members of the cast, when you were building your team, had a value to them. Sort of like Ratio Marvel 2 that Justin sort of built for MVC2, where you can only pick so many characters, and certain powerful characters had certain values to them, but the values were all over the place. It didn't really make sense. Akuma inherently probably isn't a crazy busted character worth a 4-slot value, where you couldn't even put him on a team. You had to just specifically play as Akuma throughout several versions of the game. This would change a bit later on in Capcom vs. SNK Pro. They had like pair play mode, and they sort of changed the value ratio of certain characters where you can just mess around with whatever you want. But initially, yeah, dude, like certain characters are level 2s or level 1s or level 4s, and that's what Akuma is. He's a level 4, cannot be placed on any team. So he's inherently kind of like a weirdo. He's also missing certain things. He feels kind of incomplete in this game, and CVS1 is sort of a game that you got to get used to. Just in general, hit stun, block stun feel very awkward and weird, and Akuma feels also very awkward and weird in this game. He feels mad basic. You're kind of like hoping that there's some sauce to the character in this one, and it doesn't feel like there's just much to work with, just in general. I don't really encourage you to go back and check out Akuma in CVS1. It doesn't seem like it's really worth the investigation, especially when a game like CVS2 exists, but as we go through it, you're quickly reminded of what the value of Capcom versus SNK 1, and that's in the presentation and seeing all the crazy stages and all this shit, dude. It is incredibly cool looking. But CVS2 is where it's at. Like, you're looking for Akuma gameplay, oh buddy, it's in Capcom versus SNK 2. And this character is proper wild. Outside of having like demon flip and a ton of options and air demon flip command grab and all this wild shit that he can do, Akuma's just juiced in this game. You know, being able to cancel his sweep into multiple Tatsus that leave into mixed setups. He's just extremely good. And we went to A Groove, and with the help of Scope and some other CVS experts, we were like, all right, so what is an actual big full A Groove combo? Because I never played A Groove in CVS2. I was always bound to P Groove or N Groove for the most part. And I'm like, all right, teach me how to do a proper A Groove combo with Akuma. And it's really about just getting him into the corner and repeating Go Hado over and over and over again for the best damage you can possibly can, and finishing it with a Shinko Hadouken. And it feels really good to do, man. Like, A Groove is kind of where fun mode is, in my opinion, in CVS2. Because Akuma's got a really easy route to set up into it. You can cancel sweep into a couple of Tatsus. It leaves you with enough juggle points just to naturally go into some crazy demon flip shenanigans, and these things are hard. Getting the demon flip timing to carry into the corner is difficult, and it will take, you know, more than like less than an hour, which is what I spent with it. But goddamn, dude, landing it feels friggin' great. And that isn't even including Shinikuma, but Shinikuma is not intended to be played. I'm pretty sure he's banned competitively from all versions of Capcom vs. SNK 2. He's not one of those accepted characters. The same thing with God Rugal. And he is fucked up. He's got a couple of really cool moves. He's got something that is very similar to Kongo Kokoretsutsun, or KKZ, and it is, I think it's half circle back, or half circle forward with kick. And he does this giant strike from the sky and goes bam, and like slams the ground. It is sick as shit looking. But I mean, anybody knows, Shinikuma is whack in this game. He has pretty easy infinites on the majority of the cast, and we discovered these fairly quick. You like jump up forward with medium punch and you just double Hadouken people in the air until they're dizzy and or dead. And it's like, oh, well, okay, that sucks. And if you land that, you win. But Shinikuma has piss poor health. Even if you put him at like a level 4 Shinikuma, he has really piss poor health. Oh! Oh! God damn! You know, even if you wanted to try to competitively fight against people with it, it wouldn't work out very well just because he's such the most ultimate glass cannon ever. Regular Akuma is the way to go in this game, and I genuinely think regular Akuma is a shit ton of fun. Even C-Groove regular Akuma, N-Groove regular Akuma, both these characters have really crazy potential, and that's the cool part of CVS2 and Akuma as well, is that the groove system really changes the way the character plays. And as much as I like, you know, the SNK grooves because of running, seeing Akuma running around is a joy. C-Groove's really goddamn fun because of some wild corner combos that the character gets and does a shit ton of damage. So, granted, like A-Groove, C-Groove, any of these things that you do with the character, P-Groove is also probably not the best for Akuma, but is also really fun. Demon's also pretty decent in this game, but not nearly as versatile as it is in a game like Third Strike. You just gotta love it, man. Like, CVS2 is easily one of the best playing Capcom fighting games of all time, and Akuma is equally as crazy and has just as much juice and sauce as you would hope. In this similar time span, you know, around Capcom fighting games, 1v1 Capcom fighting games, you sort of have a really, really fun, multi-use, multi-versatile version of Akuma in CVS2, and also Third Strike right around the corner, where Akuma is fun as shit. So in my opinion, right here, right now, we got a couple versions of Akuma that go down to some of the best versions of Akuma ever. That can't be said for around the block. When you go a few doors down and you see what SNK is up to with SVC Chaos as they release a 2003 version of their Capcom SNK crossover. And oh, we have stories to tell about this game. Don't worry. We did everything you could possibly do. Actually, not everything. We went through the most struggle you could possibly go through with a Shinikuma boss rage back when the previous Akuma legacy happened. And my God, dude, yeah, it was challenging and tumultuous and insane. We don't need to go through all that again. But if you want to see that adventure, it exists. But I wanted to go back and actually like bust open some mechanics in SVC Chaos. And the thing that struck me the most in this game right off the bat is just how weird it feels. Somebody in the chat was like, this game feels weird because it's an SNK game, right? And I'm like, no, not really. Other SNK games that I've played around this time frame, some of them can feel weird. Like, I'm not a huge fan of KOF 99 and stuff, but like 98 and all these other SNK games around this time frame feel pretty good. They have like a distinct feel to them. And SVC Chaos does not. And there's good reason behind that. This game was developed in a time frame where SNK was effectively going bankrupt. And they were in the process of being bought out by another developer, Playmore. So this game was just right in the absolute calamity that was that entire situation. And this was the game we got as a result. A game with a really cool roster and some wild mechanics on the surface level, but it just doesn't inherently feel super good to play. And that's what you get right off the bat with CVS. I'm sorry, with SVC Chaos. As soon as I started pressing buttons, I was like, whoa. Coming from CVS1, much less CVS2, it is a night and day scenario. But there's some crazy stuff, you know. Akuma's got some wild shit in this game, and he's got some fairly easy nutty shit. There's an ability to special cancel and normal cancel out of certain attacks at low health in SVC Chaos, I think is how it works. And we got this bonkers combo setup in the corner, which allows us to cancel a dragon punch into a demon flip, into dive kick, into dragon punch, demon kick, demon flip, dive kick, until they effectively die, and then you do super in the end. It's like, whoa, well, that's dummy good. Well, they're dead as fuck. SVC Chaos is full of a lot of really crazy shit like that. Like, the sky's the limit in terms of some of the mechanics in this game. And as much as I never had a chance to really delve into it, I've never done combos like this before in SVC Chaos, even when we were doing something like the boss rage. I was just learning on the fly there. So it's cool to see, like, what Akuma is capable of in this game. It is cool to see the contrast and comparison. I do still personally feel that SNK really got screwed the pooch in this whole situation, or, you know, this deal screwed the pooch, where we never really got a true SNK parallel. We visited some of those games before, and on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, we have played some Akuma games where on that system, there's like fighting games and card games where Akuma is present, and they're really fun, man. To be real, the hero game between the SNK Capcom crossover at the time was honestly SNK versus Capcom Match of the Millennium or something like that. The fighting game that came out on Neo Geo Pocket Color, not the card game. That game's mad fun, man. So I recommend that, right? If you really want to play a game that is truly fun, the Neo Geo Pocket game is available on Switch, and it truly is fun. It just looks really bad because it was on a Neo Geo Pocket Color. And if there's one thing I gotta give SVC Chaos a bit of credit, it looks great, man. Like, it's kind of a pretty game. It's just that it's marred by kind of rough gameplay. And you have these issues with CVS1 gameplay. CVS2 fixes the gameplay. CVS1 is better presentation. It's just all over the place here. But, you know, still, if you want to check out some really fun versions of Akuma, I actually recommend CVS2. And CVS2 is still one of the best playing fighting games out there to date. And there's a shit ton of fun to be had with this character in this game, I tell you what.